Hi there, this is Dr. Tall Paul Simon, psychiatrist, talking to you a little bit about anxiety, what it is. This video will kind of start the conversation. The next video will be about different anxiety disorders, just kind of talking a little bit about each one. And then third video will be about treatment options. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is an excessive amount of worry or fear that affects us in an unhelpful way. Okay, so it's normal to have anxiety, all right, but too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. Say, well, how is anxiety a good thing? Well, anxiety, if you don't have enough of it, what happens? You don't worry about anything. You don't save for the future. You don't watch your back. You drive as fast as you want, maybe. You do a bunch of risky stuff, without a care in the world. You don't plan for the future or, worry about your kids or anything like that. So, not enough anxiety can cause a lot of problems. So, having too much anxiety, which is what I see a lot. I don't have people complaining of having too little anxiety. I see people who have too much anxiety. Too much of anxiety, it's like too much of a good thing. Now, anxiety is a protective mechanism, okay? It keeps us safe. It's our body and our brain's way of preparing for the future and keeping us from harm. Now, if we have too much anxiety, maybe the signals in our brain don't regulate that natural anxiety, then it can kind of get hypertrophic, so too big, and that signal can kind of take over, and it can come out in all kinds of ways. Now, anxiety, when it becomes a problem, it interferes in our life. All right. So, well, how so? Anxiety can pop up in a lot of strange ways. There's a physical part of it for a lot of people. Some people, it's purely physical. They may not be really thinking of themselves as anxious. But anxiety in some people can be so physical that they can go blind, can have seizure-like activities. They can think they're having a heart attack or that they're dying. They can throw up. They can have diarrhea, stomach cramps. They can become partially paralyzed. I mean, these reactions may sound extreme, but I'm sharing them to emphasize that anxiety can often have a very physical aspect to it. More commonly, people will have muscle tension, so headaches, stomach trouble, tightness in their back, and things, and can lead to sleep trouble. So there's definitely a physical component to anxiety, where our nerves are almost like hypersensitive or on guard. So, and you can imagine muscle tension can lead to, a lot of confusion with migraines and stuff. So it's important to ask, well, what kind of headache am I having? Is it, migraine, or is it a tension headache? And so that can help differentiate. Okay, is an anxiety a factor here with a headache? More commonly, people think of as anxiety as kind of a mental thing. So worrying about things, stressing about things, worrying too much about things can be a problem where it's crowding out other things. So let's say if you're so worried about money or what you have to do tomorrow or next week that you can't be present or attentive to the people in your life, let's say at work or your private life, your significant other, your kids or your friends or family, if you're so worried about everything else that you can't relax and enjoy the conversation with somebody or effectively work because you're so distracted by all your worries and troubles, obviously that can interfere in your life. So another way that can be a problem is if we're stressed about things and worried about things, it can make us a little crabby or tense or irritable, right? So we talked about physical tension, but also just mental tension. If you're stressed out, you got too much on your plate, um, then that can really interfere with relationships. So anxiety, again, is normal to a point. But beyond that, it starts to interfere in our lives, our relationships, our concentration, our sleep, and if our sleep goes, gets troubled, then, how can we feel right? And then it just escalates. So there can also be physical symptoms of anxiety. So again, comes out in a lot of different ways. Everybody's different, but for it to be a clinical disorder, it has to cross the line somewhere where it's interfering in your life. So next we'll talk about in the next video a little bit about the specific anxiety disorders that are out there, kind of a survey of those, and then the video after that will talk about treatment. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful. If you enjoyed this video or find it helpful, please subscribe to the channel. It'll help me to do more of these. I appreciate it. You guys take care, and we'll talk then.